In today's edition, we take up a very pertinent topic. Ms. Namrata Tiwari, Marriott Hotels. I welcome all of you logged in, watching us live on different channels and platforms. So, very hearty welcome to all those participants and viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, we at FICCI strongly believe that tourism is one of the key these were the things that were actually closed. Hotels, model, this would impact the room is to employee ratio adversely. We must note that due to the fear, a large part of hospitality workforce is seeing, we are seeing a reverse migration. Impact on students in travel, tourism, and hospitality. Per se is resilient enough, and now even more, that most of them have survived the crisis. The vaccination drive is in full swing, and we are on the road to recovery. Travel restrictions are easing, and people have started if nothing untoward happens on the COVID front, hotel chains are improving upon that too. The data analysis from Taj Group stood at 1,331 in June quarter, which was up by rupees 513 reported last year in the same quarter, but still I'm at loss to understand basically what then would come. Have to be ready for tourism. So is the theme of this mega series being tourism ready. So we have been also joined by Mr. Mukesh Meshram, who has been spearheading all the tourism. The new, in its all new avatar and India's newest destination, Ayodhya coming up, and the latest in this in the new direction, in this direction of
with the government and other experts of this field is really commendable. I welcome all the participants who have participated. All of us. We are struggling with different kind of problems. The hospitality industry has had its own toll financially and otherwise also. Aviation is stuck up. Now gradually I have seen that many of the countries, they have started opening up their boundaries for the tourists, because some of the countries cannot survive without tourism, and that is really a good sign, positive sign. In fact, Uttar Pradesh has also shown a keen interest in of different things. Unlike many other, we are moving ahead with positive note. Our chief minister is constantly keeping the vigil and watch on the pandemic situation almost daily. He convenes a meeting, chairs that meeting with various departments, particularly health department, finance department, and the key players who are involved in controlling or curbing this problem. So that way, we are quite hopeful that we will soon gear up. We will soon come with and come over this problem and start the normal kind of business. Uh, Obviously, to begin with, we will have to be very cautious. We will have to adopt all the precautions. Certainly be prepared for this. So that is one. All those kind of things are back in the mind, but I'm certain that I spoke other day. I spoke. Second is the ecotourism and new areas of experiential tourism, like village tourism, wellness tourism. We can explore all those going to modify it destinations to bring them on world map so that we get them declared as world heritage. We would be able to attract more and more number of tourists, because there is this tendency of, while preparing bucket list where to go and where to visit, people choose, we are acquiring 1200 acres of land there. We would like to invite more investors to invest in Ayodhya. Activity together different states.
You're becoming a very impersonal. We are an industry which believes in human connect. Um, we've already taken that human connect out of the window by all of us dressed up in PPE kits and masks and face shields. whereas we have all these things that I've just said, which
from Lemon Tree, and he graduated from the Institute of Hotel Management, Mumbai, and then pursued MBA from SP Jain Institute of Management, Mumbai, specializing in marketing. After his initial stints with the Taj Mahal Palace, Mumbai, and the Oberoi, New Delhi, Sanjeev worked extensively in the Middle East in 4 countries: UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, and Oman. Uh, with international hospitality brands like Blue Meridian, Jumeirah International, Movenpick Hotels, Sanjeev went on to work in Thailand with Dusit Thani Group, and later joined Hyatt International. After a stint with St. Regis, Doha, Sanjeev worked with the Courtyard by Marriott, and now is currently the general manager with the Lemon Tree. So over to Sanjeev, to you for your comments.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hira, and thank you very much. Just would like to confirm if you can hear me. I know you can't see me. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
we can hear you clearly. So no problem. I think there's some bandwidth issue, so you can continue.
No, thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be on this panel with some known faces, not only in Lucknow but also in Agra, where I was there last. And I would like to talk a little bit about my experiences while running a hotel at the time of this pandemic. For me personally, although it has been very challenging, it has brought in a great deal of learning and experiences. Of course, there was no playbook to face these challenges. We were constantly encouraged to think as entrepreneurs in our businesses while running the hotels. We were encouraged to act independently and seek solutions at our local levels, even though we are part of chains, just to address issues quicker and faster. We saw colleagues were suffering a personal loss and even struggling financially, but we ensured that we were with them, we were around them, and we provided them with every assistance that we could possibly have. The constantly changing situations also helped us bring out some new talent and help develop some new leaders. It has been rewarding to empower our team members, and many of them have shown great potential in these new circumstances and challenges that we have been facing. For me personally, as a hotel manager, I was certainly dealing with multiple challenges when the pandemic broke out. The main focus was how to keep my business open and running, ensure that we stay profitable despite the odds, and also look after the welfare of my team members, plus also working closely with my owners. But yes, as we see that international inbound travel for us, for many of us who rely on that, is still some time away, we have quickly adapted and focused our energies on the domestic travelers, like some of the panelists have already mentioned. So we've tried to focus more on our domestic leisure. Socials and weddings business has been a main source of business, transit guests, and also some limited corporate and business movement has also helped us regain some of the lost grounds. And a little bit in terms of the role of the government, I think the UP government, especially talking about our state, I think they did a fair job of allowing businesses to run during the second wave. This has helped us to bounce back faster this time around. And it is encouraging, like some of my fellow panelists have mentioned, it's encouraging to see the revival in our business in July and even now in August. The government of Uttar Pradesh has also achieved the milestone of 6 crores COVID vaccinations recently, which is the highest amongst all the states in India. However, with a total population of over 24 crores in the state alone, I think we still have a very long way to go. But yes, I think the continued focus on the COVID vaccinations and also educating the population is a key priority, but not only of the government, but all of us. I think we all have to play a role, and we must ensure that we continue to take the precautions to lead us out of this pandemic. A little bit about some of the best practices or some of the solutions we have worked upon is, of course, managing our top line in this scenario has been a key focus. Some of us, like some of the panelists mentioned, have been lucky. Some of us not so lucky. So hotels have had to quickly evaluate their pricing. Also, of course, keeping in mind our peculiar cost-intensive nature of business. Hotel companies have also had to, like some people touched upon, review their brand standards, some of their processes, and even staffing levels very quickly. And also when businesses drop, the employees were the most impacted. And it was time for the companies to take a human approach and safeguard their talent. And as we move towards the revival, I think efforts are on to and have already started to bring back those employees on board. Also, currently, there's a huge effort underway in all organizations to vaccinate and protect the employees and their families. And along with the vaccination drive, hotels are keeping a focus on ensuring the COVID protocols are constantly and stringently being followed in the hotels. Many hotels have also, of course, most hotels have utilized this opportunity to ensure regular online training for the employees and to keep them updated and abreast with the latest developments. In the current scenario, I feel it is important for us to stay flexible and show empathy and making sure we care for our guests. We do realize that at the moment, travel is still not easy for people. There can still be a lot of last-minute changes, etc. We as hoteliers must be with our guests and make sure we support them and we are with them on that front. And also, like, although not all of our guests subscribe to contactless solutions, like Mr. Sukumar just pointed out, but I believe that hotels do need to have technology and just offer our guests the option if they want to go contactless or they don't. It's of course, but we must give them the choice. And lastly, I would just add that most of our owners also have been very, very supportive during this whole situation. I think their local knowledge and their inputs have been invaluable in helping us cope with the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tandon. And these are very important points that you have mentioned. Yes, there has to be a kind of a hybrid thing where you have technology and personal contact in place for everybody to kind of make use of it. And depending on their comfort level with the technology, they can sort of use the facilities. But you have been a very experienced, you are a very experienced hotelier and having worked in international chains and hotels in so many different countries. As an input from you, I would also like to hear that what are those characteristics or those few things that as a hotelier or my question is primarily for the people who are now intending to join the hotel industry or are studying maybe, what are those characteristics that they should always have in them to be a successful hotelier, just like you?
Well, thank you. That's an interesting question. Thank you for really asking me that question, because that's something over the years I've actually been observing and thinking about. And I'd like to echo what Mr. Hari Sukumar had said a little bit earlier when he was speaking. I personally feel that it is very, very important to remain and be a hotelier at heart. Sometimes I feel that we're losing the spirit and the art of hospitality. At times we feel that we become too transactional. Of course, numbers and results are very important. However, I feel that personal connect with our guests is really what makes the difference. This is really what drives in the guests to come back and repeat visitors to your property. Of course, technology has entered almost all aspects of life. However, it must not replace the connect or the personal rapport. It should just remain a tool for us. And also, I must add that we learn every day, however long we may have been in the industry. So I think it's very important to keep learning and to stay relevant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tandon. So we started the session with a lady panelist, and we probably are having a lady panelist again at the end of it all. So we can understand the kind of woman power that this industry has, and it's an equal opportunity for the women in hotel industry. And probably it's a kind of a 50-50 ratio, if I'm not wrong, in a hotel, which can, and it can, I mean, the women can always surpass that ratio to men when working in the hospitality industry, quite unlike other industries. So from Marriott Hotels, we are joined by Namrata Tiwari, who's the director of sales, the Renaissance by Marriott, and she has 12 years of outstanding experience in luxury hospitality. She completed her hotel management from Calcutta and holds a postgraduate degree in the management from MIT Pune. Namrata started her career with the Taj, switching over to the Marriott Group in 2012, and since then has been working with the Marriott. Namrata has won the prestigious Golden Circle Award in 2014 for her top-of-the-line performance in hotel room and banquet sales. So, Namrata, we're all waiting for you. Over to you.
Thank you for such a great introduction, and it's an honor to be a part of this panel. Talking about the topic that we're discussing today, firstly, I would actually like to thank the government who's done a fantastic job in controlling the COVID, especially in UP. So the steps taken, the strict steps taken, which was stay-at-home order, restaurant shut down, the hotel shut down, offices shut down. Maybe this all steps impacted the way the hotel industry was getting operated or getting the revenues from, which resulted in a decline in the revenues of the hotel. So, though to some extent this was giving us a way as a hotelier, we were bearing heavy losses, but immediately after the lockdown opened, we could see there are other sector segments also. When you consider a hotel, there are other segments also where you can generate revenue from. One such segment is takeaways. So if you see from since the past lockdown, when the lockdown opened, the first thing that opened was takeaways, and a lot of the brand hotels started getting into this segment, which was not a very a case prior to this. Marriott also entered that segment. Marriott was Marriott on Wheels. We we actually curated a menu with all the cuisines mentioned in that. So people missing the L14 food, which is quite famous in Lucknow, we delivered food at their doorstep. And this segment actually contributed a lot of revenue to the hotel. Apart from the F&B that is very strong at the hotel, one other segment that actually outperformed was staycation, which was never a case for Lucknow. So we saw a lot of leisure travel happening. It was not only from outside Lucknow or UP. It was people staying in Lucknow, coming in, spending a short stay, a one-nighter stay, taking the staycation package, which included the meals, and they enjoyed the staying over here because the people were desperate. People wanted a break. They wanted to stay in a hotel. They wanted a change. So this is one segment which, again, we were not, as being a corporate hotel in the city, we never actually focused on this segment, but this is one segment which actually outperformed for the hotel. Apart from that, running behind the international business, that focus was shifted again to the domestic companies, the companies based out of India. So what happened is the government projects which were being done by the international companies, international guests, were now shifted to Indian guests, and we started seeing Indian national coming to the hotel to complete the same project. So this is one. There are various segments that we identified post-pandemic or during the pandemic, which can give us additional revenues. Talking about the recovery, yes, it is on the recovery path. Unlike the last year, if we talk about this year lockdown, the moment everything got eased out, people started traveling, and best part is the corporate started traveling. We saw an increase in the group demand. It is not only the weddings, it is from the corporate segment also. People started doing the review meeting, which was likewise in 2019. So this because of all this, we are already to a 80% recovery to what numbers we were doing in 2019. So July was very good, and August has been remarkable, and that's what we're thinking about assuming for September, October, and November. So this is one of the best month, August. If I talk about solely August, August 2021 has been one of the best months since the hotel has opened. So people are changing, and people are changing their mindset. Uh, the moment the restaurant opened, we got a ease on the lockdown restriction as well. We could see a lot of people coming into the restaurant, and our 60% of revenues coming in from a restaurant to the hotel was contributing a lot to the hotel. Also, if you see on the recovery path, we have seen a lot of Marriott hotels opening up their opportunities online. Vacancies are opening up. We need more people because all the layoffs that happened because of low occupancy and low demand has now increased, and all the people who had gone out of the system are coming back. So that is the good part, and is a very positive note on the recovery.
Indeed, Namrita, it's quite positive, and your inputs are really encouraging, especially for the youth who were really depressed when things had stopped in the industry, and people were coming to us and asking that what happens to them. They were studying hotel management and catering courses or tourism and travel courses. So, which is quite reassuring. Now, as a sales, because you had the sales part of the hotel. So, as a salesperson, what is the difference now? After the pandemic has ebbed, you and your team have probably started going again out in the market and connecting with people. So, what is that kind of a change or new thing that you are finding in the market, positive or negative? What kind of the client psychology, or what's that changed behavior as a salesperson? How would you put it as?
So to answer to that question, as a sales head, it has been very challenging for a market like Lucknow, because we are actually responsible to get the revenues to the hotel, and we are responsible to give salaries to a lot of the people in the hotel. So when we started going out, one thing is that we realized the change in the people behavior outside. People are ready to pay more. Now, the luxury, which was the main focus till 2019, has been taken over by personal hygiene, how safe the hotel is to stay. So all these have actually taken over the luxury statement that was there for the hotel. People can pay more. Only you have to assure them that the people they are sending, or the people who are coming and staying over here, will be safe. So we have, as a Marriott, we have introduced commitment to clean post the first pandemic, where we talk about the steps. We've identified touch points where the major public areas, and how we're doing the rooms post a guest checks out, what chemicals we are using. So all that, this gives the assurance for the people to come to the hotel with some extra amount. So this is one mindset which has changed. Apart from that, one other positive note, on a very positive note, the weddings, because the government has restricted the capping to 50 and then to 100. While this is a restriction for the hotels and for the standalone lawns and other hotels, but best part is, again, people are because people had that budget with them for a wedding of 500, 600 people. They are ready to shift that to a 5-star or a brand hotel just for the assurance that the guest will be safe, and they're moving into a destination wedding module. So people are taking rooms plus catering, which is helping us get more both rooms and catering revenues, which was not the case until 2019. Even the local people are taking not arranging for guest houses or other area. They used to take apartments or the guest houses before and do the catering in hotels, which is now shifted towards taking the rooms in the hotel and doing the catering in the hotel. So this is the best part. But the challenges that we are facing right now is personal connect is missing, because there are a lot of hesitation still when we call people to fix appointment. They don't want to meet, especially people from the hotel. They are hesitant to call anybody from us to sit in their office, because obviously there are a lot of objection and people are still not comfortable. People have still not opened up with the fear that the third wave is coming. So that personal connect is missing, and we have to close everything over the phone, which is again becoming a difficult thing for us as being in sales and being an Indian salesperson, which our deals used to get closed only when we used to sit in front of a client on in front of a table, and then we used to close the deals. But now what has happened, we have to close everything over the phone or the emails. This, if it continues, then your a sense of a personal connect will lose that. And what will happen is everything will be dependent on the rate that you offer. So there will be a price war, like what you have on international, especially the international market. Everything is RFP based. You quote a lower bid, it is accepted. You quote a little higher bid, it is not accepted. So we don't want India or UP at least to go to that direction, and we want the previous sale to come back.
That's a very important point you have raised. The price war shouldn't be there. And yes, the impersonal kind of a thing, if enters into hospitality, the hotel sales, it will be really tough. But quite reassuring the steps that your hotel is taking. And I'll be a guest today at one of your restaurants this evening. So let me assure you that let me start with your hotel, dining out after the pandemic has ebbed. So wow, it was really wow. It was a session which was indeed it has transformed all the woes of the hospitality industry into wows, or at least has made us think positively and reassured that it is all set to be fine sooner rather than later. In my opinion, hotels are showing exemplary courage and determination to keep themselves afloat. And the worst is over. So now only better days are ahead, all of us. So it's just a matter of time, and we'll see the best days coming soon. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am privileged to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the Government of Uttar Pradesh, Department of Tourism, MKITM, and FICCI for today's session. And first of all, let me thank Mr. Mukesh Meshram, Principal Secretary and Director General, Tourism, Government of Uttar Pradesh, not only for being with us today, but also for his continued guardianship for the tourism industry of Uttar Pradesh. Thank you very much, Mr. Meshram, for guiding us all through and reassuring us that the government is with us in these most difficult times. Thanks to all my panelists for sparing their time and sharing their thoughts. I express my gratitude to such a knowledgeable panelist, which includes Mr. Hari Sukumar, JP Hotels, Mr. Sanjeev Tandon, Lemon Tree, Ms. Annu Dhillan, Chambal Safari Lodge, and Namrata Tiwari, to you as well, Director of Sales, Marriott Hotels. I also thank Mr. Avinash Chandra Misra, Joint Secretary, UP Tourism, Government of Uttar Pradesh, who has been quite instrumental, and no less, it has been the contribution of Dr. Anushri Banerjee, the publication officer at the UP Tourism, who has been coordinating all of it since we began this webinar series on the 20th of July. I sincerely thank our own FICCI team, Mr. Manish Ahuja, Amit Gupta, Samanda, Chetan, and Divjot Anand for working behind the scenes and making this entire series till now a thorough success. Having a wonderful audience that at one point swelled to 4,120 it's a sheer blessing that we have. And last but not the least, thanks to the huge audience who has been not only on the WebEx platform, but on the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels of the Government of UP and FICCI. So before we leave and say bye to you, let me just remind you that next Friday on the 27th of August, we will be live again with a new session as a part of this ongoing series of Being Tourism Ready by UP Tourism and FICCI. So thank you once again to everyone. Thank you.